Man, my sports teams are going to be the death of me one day. But Knicks win in Game 58 of the regular season as they beat the Detroit Pistons 113 to 111. And the reason I say they're going to be the death of me is because coming down to the wire against the Detroit Pistons is most definitely not an ideal scenario to be in. But they end up getting it done. The crowd was electric for that game. You got your money's worth in terms of you looking for just a basketball game, like a good game just from an entertainment standpoint, because of the way that thing ended. Absolutely crazy. Both teams playing horrible basketball at the end of the game there. But man, if you want to watch this team dominate night in and night out, well, I have bad news for you. Looks like it's not going to happen until Randall and OG come back. And OG in particular, his presence was missed in a game like this because I was ready to throw something watching Cade Cunningham just drive at will, watching Grimes go off for 14 points at the end of the game, and the defense just was horrendous. They were spacing the floor way too much, Detroit that is, and it was just embarrassing to watch. First, they start off, though, by just annihilating the Knicks in the paint, and then towards the end, they just start making threes. They miss that. They miss I almost said Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle, they miss his production. Granted, they did get some more production, but it took a bit, which is a little concerning that Brunson was really the only one that showed up to start off this basketball game. Things got better, and don't get me wrong, it's not like guys didn't show up afterwards, and they, like, very good impacts from some of the guys afterwards, in particular, too, which I'm going to talk about. But, damn, like, they got to start annihilating teams. Like, it's the Detroit Pistons, and I get it. You're banged up going into the game and everything. Guys are tired, but this is the Pistons. You got to annihilate them. But I will take the win because I'm at the point where just claw your way to as many wins as possible until this team is healthy. But they need to get healthy soon because if you're in close games with the Detroit Pistons, it is going to be a long road ahead. But before we jump further into the recap here, leave a like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel here. But yeah, I mean, the first quarter, just unbelievable how bad it started. Tibbs has to call a timeout very early in this game. They go down 14-8. Again, the paint defense was looking bad. Dante DiVincenzo was scaring me early in the game, and that's one of the guys I was hinting at before that really stood out later on and, you know, got better, but he concerned me on both sides of the ball early on in the game. He just was not looking sharp at all. He was missing a lot of threes. Brunson, at least, though, stepping up big time. Achua had a big block early. Brunson just, again, nailing threes left and right. The Knicks then get the lead, and then after Detroit called their timeout, Hart starts stepping up a bit, which Hart definitely had a very big game. And how about Jericho Sims, too, coming in the game? He definitely, you didn't notice him as much later on, but early in the game, he made a big presence in terms of getting some big rebounds, especially on offense there. He was getting some big rebounds for this team early on in the game. So, yeah, Jericho Sims definitely deserves some credit. And even Burks at the end of the first quarter came in and started to hit some shots, and all of a sudden the Knicks start looking decent at the end of the first quarter. You still would like them to be better, but it's like, all right, maybe you could carry this over. And it did start off very great the second quarter. Like, the transition game was improved. They started off on a 9-0 run. Bojan Bogdanovic coming in the game. Him and Hart cooking early on in that second quarter, and then all of a sudden things just shifted completely. Funny enough, when Brunson comes in, who was easily the best player for not necessarily easily, but he was one of the best players for the Knicks tonight, obviously, in terms of the offense, and he just has been. But, man, he was getting exposed a lot defensively at points in this game. But, you know, once he came in, things did get a little shaky, and it just was concerning. The transition game, especially getting back on defense, they were allowing way too many fast breaks, I thought, for Detroit there, and it was just a terrible end of the quarter defensively. Sims was good along the boards yet again, but Brunson, the thing that stood out in that quarter to me is he wasn't really getting to the line. Things changed with that later on in the game, but you know, the Brunson that we know and love, he's getting to the rack and he's drawing fouls. He was doing that a bit early on, but he just wasn't getting the foul calls like we're accustomed to seeing. But at least Dante DiVincenzo was picking up towards the end. But, man, Cade Cunningham was not missing shots, especially in that first half. I don't think he missed a single shot in the first half, which is just ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, the difference was Detroit was getting to the line, and they were also forcing turnovers early in the game. Third quarter comes along, and man, was it ugly yet again. The defense just struggling yet again, especially in the paint. They were taking too many fouls as well. At least, like I said, Brunson started getting to the line. Devo was hitting some big threes more, but Cade just continuing to annihilate them. Precious had a couple big defensive plays, but the defense was just horrible for that entire quarter. But you get to the fourth, and the defense was a nightmare in that fourth quarter, and the offense too. I mean, the offense really was underwhelming for a lot of that quarter. They stepped up in the big moments there. Brunson especially, Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, all of them stepped up in the big moments there. Had some clutch moments at the end. How many times did I say moments there? I don't know, but we're going to roll with it. But yeah, I mean, Quentin Grimes, he was just killing the Knicks. He got like 14 points alone in that quarter, and Detroit just started spacing the floor. All of a sudden, they could hit threes, which they weren't doing, and it was all the former Knicks too. Evan Fournier getting involved a lot, even Malachi Flynn getting involved in the party, which that dude did nothing for the Knicks, and all of a sudden, he's just hitting shots. Just infuriating to see, but yeah, you get a huge block at the end from Achua and Hartenstein, and then I don't even know what to make of that end of the game. Both teams turning the ball over left and right. No foul call. Hart goes to the line when he gets the foul called and the shot. So he gets, and then he misses the free throw, gets the rebound, goes back to the line, and then they get the rebound yet again on the last free throw, and they end up winning the game. Textbook cardiac Knicks win. Just insanity. Just insanity what we saw at the Garden here. I miss Randall and I miss OG because holy crap are they missed badly for the defensive side, for OG in particular. And then, like I said, they really are missing Randall with his production as well. And I did like what they got from a couple guys. Like Bojan Bogdanovic played a better game than he did last time. This is mostly offensively because defensively, there was really no one that stood out except for like Hartenstein had a couple big blocks and then Achua had a couple clutch blocks. But outside of that, the defense was definitely underwhelming a lot in this game. Bogdanovic, I thought he had a good game compared to what we saw. Burks, he started off good, died down. He's just annoying me with some of these shots that he's just chucking up there when he's getting double, triple covered. Like, dude, you got to stop being so trigger happy. Don't know how many times I have to say it on these post-game shows, but it's just infuriating me to no end. Sims underratedly had a good game. Love DiVincenzo's game a lot. In terms of after the first quarter when he started to step up and hit the threes, all of a sudden things were looking good. Went 50% from downtown, 5 for 10 on that, and he went 61.5% from the field. That's a Dante DiVincenzo we know and love, and he was starting to be more confident with firing the threes, starting to be more confident driving to the paint. That's something that we needed more from Dante DiVincenzo, and yeah, he definitely stepped up when he needed to. Brunson, need I say more with the clutchness at the end of the game. At the beginning, too, he was really the only one stepping up for this team. He definitely was quietly bad from the field. Like, he went 3 for 11. Or not from the field, from downtown. From the field, he shot 42.3%. But yeah, 3 for 11 from downtown. Hit some big threes at the very least, though. Hartenstein had a solid game. He needs to start getting more minutes at some point, and I know that's hard to with the injury, but when he's just not on the court, things just spiral. Josh Hart had a very good game, 23 points for him. He's been looking sharp lately. Is it sustainable? I don't know, but he's been looking good lately. Achua, would have liked for his presence to be noticeable a little more on the offensive side of the ball, but, he made some big plays defensively, and then Deuce McBride didn't really get a lot of minutes, but 2 points in the minutes that he did, so not much you could really judge there. But, yeah, like, I want this team to start annihilating teams, and I want this team healthy, more importantly, and should I be happy that they clawed their way to a win? Yeah, because at the end of the day, they don't ask how, they ask how many, sure, but that can't happen. That cannot happen against a terrible Pistons team. Granted, again, We're going to see what this team's made of healthy, but hopefully soon. But that was just concerning, especially with the way that they were letting Detroit just space the floor out at the end of that game. That was not ideal. That was not ideal because I don't know exactly by quarter how many threes they were hitting Detroit, that is, but it felt like it went up towards the end of that game, and Quentin Grimes especially just started hitting them. But yeah, I mean, you got the win, still the 4th seed in the East, but we'll see how they carry it over into the next game, because they got to be way sharper than that. It's just crazy because, like, last game, it's like, oh, well, all right, you're in a close game against Boston. That's pretty good. At least you're staying close, even though you're banged up. You should be able to annihilate Detroit. And no, February has just not been a fun month for this team. Just hasn't. And they play New Orleans on Tuesday. That is tomorrow. I don't know why I said Tuesday as if it's like a different day. Tomorrow they play New Orleans, so we got a back-to-back here. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Another 7:30 start. Hopefully the Knicks could give a bounce back performance, because that was just ugly. That was just ugly. And I say bounce back as if they lost, but they need to give a better performance. That's just what I mean. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this game. Would love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next one.